Everything you want, or should want, in the way of free will, you can have on this picture.
It turns out that not everybody understands the expression free will in the same way, and there are lots of different ways of understanding it.
In this video, you will be using either the like or dislike button as a vote for either yes or no, with the like button being your answer for yes and the dislike button being your answer for no. Here's the question. Do you have free will? Which the dictionary defines as the ability to act at one's own discretion. But I will also include autonomy over one's thoughts and decisions. So let me ask it like this. Do you have full autonomy over your thoughts and decisions? Do you have free will? If your answer is yes, I do have free will, vote yes with the like button. If your answer is no, I do not have free will, vote no with the dislike button. I'm interested in seeing the results. I'm interested in seeing if the majority of you are smart enough to realize that even though you will be, quote, choosing an answer, that the right answer is no, and that this, quote, choice is not up to you at all. Because free will is not a thing. An electron is a thing. A brain is a thing. A middle finger is a thing. Because they all exist in the objective world. But free will is not a thing. Because free will does not exist in the objective world. To believe you have free will is as wrong a position as to believe you can fly. We know humans cannot fly. With the same certainty, we know humans do not have free will, because every intention you've ever had or thought that colors your experience arises from causes and conditions that you are not aware of. You are not that which creates thought or the arbiter of thought. You are that which is aware of thought. You have no more control over the next thought that pops into your consciousness than you do in etching off 9 inches from your height. You have as much control over what thoughts pop into your experience as you do in controlling the contraction of your pupils when walking from a dark room into a bright room. And every thought that does pop into your consciousness is responsible for influencing every decision you've ever made. Consider Benjamin Libet's experiments in the 1980s, experiments which have been replicated hundreds of times with the same results, in which the subject is wired onto an EEG machine, measuring brain activity via electrodes on their scalps, and then asked to perform a simple hand movement when they, quote, felt like it. Libet also got them to record the time at which they made the conscious decision to move their hands. And what exactly were the results? Libet found, and a plethora of other neuroscientists since have found, that the conscious decision to move their hand was made over 1/3 of a second before the subject was aware of it, and in some cases, even longer. An endless amount of mechanisms are churning in your body as I speak, that are pumping your blood, that are digesting your food, that are sending signals to your brain, signals that influence and cause every next reaction you, quote, choose. And you didn't create these causes, and you had no say in these conditions, in these factors for which you had no say over, hold dominion over the inevitable outcome of your entire life. Free will is not a thing. Free will is a thing. Take Libet's experiment, for example. This experiment is so flawed, one has to stand in awe of anyone who still takes it seriously. First off, who's to say the information being recorded that is supposedly making decisions at 550 milliseconds is actually making the decision? Because even though it is a causal process, all that means is it merely increases the probability of a given decision, but not that it actually makes the decision. And other scientists who study response time have shown that many responses are similar in milliseconds to the response time of people who were making the decision in Libet's experiment. And also, the actions that are being studied here are incredibly trivial. A simple motor movement is not comparable to the majority of complex decisions we make every day. And it's in those decisions, ones that require reasoned thought, weighing the pros and cons of a given choice, where free will does exist.
That second kind of behavior, one that engages vast amounts of the brain, particularly the frontal lobes, that incorporates an enormous amount of information in the causation of the behavior, that has some mental model of the world that can predict the consequences of possible behavior and select them on the basis of those consequences. All of those things carve out the realm of behavior that we call free will.
Free will is as real an experience as the reality that you exist, and discounting our subjective experience of making choices and reducing everything down to mechanistic determinism ignores the empirical nature of free will that we all share. Plus, quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is indeterministic in that the outcomes of measurements are chosen at random from the slate of possibilities. So if quantum effects help to shape our conscious choices, they sever the connection between us and the initial conditions of the universe. It's also a great assumption of arrogance to propose consciousness has no say in the matter, given how ignorant science still is in regards to consciousness, or consciousness and its relationship to the universe, or its properties, or lack thereof. So it's unwise to claim we don't have free will. A more interesting claim is that we certainly do have free will, but we're still trying to figure out exactly what kind of free will it is.